You okay?
Now that you've seen Exo Kitty, did you catch these To All the Boys I'd Love Before Easter eggs and references in the show? What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here, and I'm a huge fan of the To All the Boys I'd Loved Before book series and the movies, so I was very excited when Exo Kitty hit Netflix. This is the spin-off show based on the youngest Song Cubby's sister Kitty. Now, since this show is the brainchild of the original book's author Jenny Han, there are many similarities and Easter eggs and references to the original trilogy in the show, so let's talk about it. Obviously, spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the actual show. First up, we have the way that Kitty first introduced herself to Peter in the car, being how she introduced herself at the airport.
Catherine Song Cubby. Kitty to my friends. And I'm on my way to Seoul, Korea.
Oh, and did you recognize that desk tenant? Yes, that's author Jenny Han, who loves making a cameo in her project and appeared in all 3 of the previous movies. When Kitty introduces herself to Peter, she has a Korean smoothie yogurt drink, and for movie night, we see everyone eating popcorn. We see those same snacks pop up when Dan and Trina are watching Kitty's presentation in Exo Kitty, and then when Kitty almost gets sidetracked because she sees a yogurt drink cart.
Ooh, yum. Focus, Kitty, focus.
Now remember when Lara Jean backed her car up into Peter? Well, Kitty also gets knocked down by Yuri's car in Exo Kitty. Then we have the classic Are You Okay?, which Yuri asks Kitty, and in the other movies, Lara Jean was asked by Peter and by John Ambrose in the...
Are you okay? Do you need help?
You okay?
What happened?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the slip and falls, her and Lara Jean definitely have the same clumsiness and falling style, but they love a good knock over something then slip and fall at it. We have Kitty taking a photo of her holding up her grade, which is a tradition we saw that her dad loves in the first movie. Speaking of her dad, remember that hilarious scene in the To All the Boys movie, the first one, when he and Lara Jean are having to talk about, contraceptives and being safe and stuff?
We need to talk about your sexual health.
No, please no.
Well, it seems like he's had those same talks with Kitty too.
Well, have a great time, and remember...
I'm not having another talk about contraceptives with you.
Now, during the talent show, Kitty is wearing a traditional Korean hanbok, and then Yuri points out that her bow is tied wrong. Now, in the second To All the Boys movie, P.S. I Still Love You, we see Lara Jean tying Kitty's bow for her, while Margot is on the phone telling her how to do it, so it's kind of no surprise Kitty doesn't know how to tie her bow right. Now, Kitty met Day in the third To All the Boys movie at the End Seoul Tower, where all the love locks are. In episode 8 of Exo Kitty, we see very briefly that Day and Kitty return to that same spot to put their own love lock on the fence, and the color of the lock and the way that she writes their names on it matches the parents' original lock and the one the family left in that third movie. Now, in the first To All the Boys movie, Kitty has a movie night with Lara Jean and Peter where they watch The Breakfast Club, and we can see Kitty reference that same movie during the detention scene. If you know anything about the franchise, you know that Lara Jean's nickname is Cubby. It's used by a few people, but mainly her boyfriend Peter Kavinsky, who, by the way, we do learn in Exo Kitty that couple is still together. No one ever really calls Kitty that, except in this scene where Minho does.
Do something. You owe me, Cubby.
Okay.
And if you watched Exo Kitty, you know that at the very end, Minho confessed his love for Kitty, and I feel like him calling her Cubby really set that ending up. Minho also took an interest in asking Kitty if she missed her mom during the Chuseok, and that whole conversation about missing parents, one kind of absent parent in the case of Minho and one who has passed away in the case of Kitty, is very much like the conversation where Peter opens up about his dad and then asks Lara Jean if she misses her mom. Now there's a scene where Kitty decides to not sit with Day on the bus but sit with Alex, since Day isn't really being honest with her and talking to her. It's very much a callback to the scene when Lara Jean chooses to sit with Chris over Peter on the bus. Now at the end of the season, we see Day race after Kitty to the airport to try and win her back, but before he can get out what he wants to say, she says her piece.
And you'll always be the first boy I loved.
This is sort of reminiscent of when Lara Jean sat Josh down in the first movie to say that he was the first boy she ever liked. It's kind of like both girls saying goodbye to the first boy who captured their hearts. And finally, season 1 of Exo Kitty ended with Minho telling Kitty,
I think I fell in love with you.
And the song playing at the end is About Love by Marina. Now, if this song sounds familiar, it's because it's the same song used at the end of the second movie, P.S. I Still Love You. Netflix also pointed out a few other parallels in the way these shots look. Alright, so those are some of the fun references, callbacks, and Easter eggs in Exo Kitty from the To All the Boys franchise. Did you spot all of these as you watched? Did you catch any that I maybe missed? And I also want to know your thoughts on Exo Kitty and maybe the whole To All the Boys franchise. Let me know down in the comments, and then if you want, you can check out my recap of Season 1 of Exo Kitty right over here. And after that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any more of my new videos. As always, I'm Lisa, and thanks for hanging out with me and listening